Hi everyone, welcome back to my art tutorial channel. Today we're going to be working on the foreground grasses section of the painting. So I'm going to show you how to introduce a bit of texture into there, and we're going to slowly start building up the layers and refining the details over probably the next couple of lessons, I should imagine. We're just waiting for the background trees to dry, so this is the ideal time to be getting on with that foreground section. So let's get on with that now. Okay, so we're still waiting for this area of the painting to dry here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of work on here just to build up the textures of the grasses here. I'm going to show you how to mix greens on my palette here, and what I've got here is my palette with Hooker's Green, Sap Green, French Ultramarine, Cadmium Red, Yellow Ochre, Burnt Umber, that one, and Titanium White. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to mix. What we're going to try and do here is mix a variety of different colours, some muted, some stronger, as we build up this texture in the foreground. And then once I've got the texture in, what we'll do is we'll then start, once it's dried, I'll start using the rigger brush to draw in the real detail. But we want to build up that texture first. So let's get started on that now. So the grasses are fairly light. There are some darker areas, so I'm just going to mix a few bits up here. So we'll start with the sap green. Just want to knock that back a little bit with some yellow ochre. I feel like I misidentified the yellow ochre in a previous lesson. I don't know what I called it in that one, but this is definitely yellow ochre. So if you look back on one of my previous lessons and you think, hang on, you called that something different. My paints are quite old, so the writing's rubbed off on a lot of the tubes there. Okay, so we're just knocking that back with the yellow ochre. That will just mute that green, that sap green. And we're just looking now to sort of simulate kind of brush shapes and strokes, and I say, just you want texture, lots of texture in the foreground, because this is where your eye is going to be drawn. This is where all the detail is going to be. One of the things I should probably talk about, I've mentioned sap green and the standard tube colours, but a good way to start learning to mix colours yourself. Everyone knows that, you know, a basic green colour can be made from blue and yellow. Well, I think most people do. If you're a beginner, then I apologise. But so if you take a bit of, I need a bit more of that French ultramarine, and I'll show you how you can mix a basic green and then you can start adjusting it from there. So you take a bit of the French ultramarine. I hope I'm not obscuring my palette now like I did in the previous video. So I'm adding a bit of the cadmium yellow there. And you can see, obviously, the more blue that's in there, the bluer side of the hue the green will be. So just keep adding a bit yellow, a bit more yellow. And you can see that's quite a nice sort of green on the blue side of the spectrum. You just keep adding yellow to it, and it will obviously become more green, if you like, more on the yellow side. But that's a good way to start. And then from that we can add whites to lighten it up. We can add a bit of burnt umber to mute it again, a bit of red which will knock that back. And in fact, I'll show you when we come to this background tree section here, I will show you a bit more how to mute the colours so they recede into the distance. I'd actually filmed a couple of sections on that back tree line there, but unfortunately my camera was out of focus, so I can't show you guys that footage. But that's okay, because we're still going to work on this again, and you haven't missed too much of that. So that will all become clear. But yeah, so if you add like a bit of red, for instance, you can see it just mutes, it just takes the strength out of that colour there. But you know, you should do what you're happy with. But it's so good to experiment, you know. You can use the tube colours, which are really good. Like I say, sap green is such a good base colour to start with. But mixing your own greens, you know, once you learn how to control them, it will just add so much more depth into your paintings, and you'll understand about tonal values and about saturation of colour. So we're just trying to scrub, like I say, I've got the, if you can see there, it's one of my small batter brushes again. You want those sort of grass-like brush strokes really, so you don't need your smooth, soft hair brushes. This is probably just an old nylon brush, I should imagine. And it's a Pro Art filbert. Doesn't even look like a filbert now, it's so battered. But, you know, lots of random different colours in there. So with this base green, just add little bits of other colour off the side here. Just so you've got that variety of different tones and colours, and that's what will start to add interest, because otherwise it would become too almost monotone if you're not careful. I mean, as I've said before, this is a very green scene, so we want to be careful that we don't everything just becomes green and flat. So the way to do that is to add other colours into the mix. So I'm just doing that here. So this green that I'm putting on now is virgin on brown now, but you'll get that in the grasses. There's so many different variations of colour, and so you want to be doing that. So just always try and vary your colours and tones, but also look about how it kind of, whether it pulls it forward or sends it back. So I'm going to squeeze out a bit more of the yellow, because we want a few more vibrant greens as we're in the foreground now. So let's put some yellow on the palette. Again, we're just in the pure pigment. Again, no thinning down of anything. A bit more of the ultramarine in there. As you see, the more yellow you add, the kind of lighter and more on the yellow side that will become. So let's get that in there, scrub that in. You know, you can use a fan brush for this, but I like these kind of battered old brushes, to be honest. They just give you some nice brush strokes and it's not too regular. I'm going to leave this bit here where it meets the river. I'm going to leave that bit now, because what I'm going to do is I'll work on the river. Once I'm happy with that reflection, then we'll build up these bits of grasses here. So I'm not going to touch that bit particularly there. We're going to wait for that that section to be done first, because you're going to paint over it. So when you're doing realistic landscapes, a lot of what you're doing is planning. So you're building from the back to the front normally, working on your darks to lights, but think about how things are going to be done, in what order. So like I say, because there's lots of thin grasses that come up over here, you don't want to be painting that now and then having to go back to this section here. You want to be thinking about what comes first in your paintings. So a bit of the hooker's green there. Again, just changing the tonal value and the colour values there, just for added interest. Just scrubbing that in, and you can see I'm just using little sharp short strokes to give textures. You can use a fan brush for this, you can use any brush that you're happy with, but the broken bristle brushes are so good for this kind of texture. But this is still almost like an underpainting part really, because the fine detail will come once this has dried. Add a bit of red in there, a bit of yellow ochre. Just getting those variations in there. I mean, for me, we're starting to get to what I would call the exciting part of the painting, where it's starting to take shape now, and you can start to see areas being established. It can seem like a long, slow process, but it's coming down to the detail part is the bit that I really enjoy when I'm doing this. Watching it kind of really take shape and come to life. You know, something from this, which is still basically a blocking in almost, and then it just really, by the end, it will look, you know, pretty amazing kind of realistic landscape. Well, let's hope it does. That's the plan. So just scrubbing those in, you can see it's like when you scrub it in like this, you kind of can get the texture of grasses there. It kind of looks like growth there. And really here I'm just kind of experimenting with mixing different colours. I'm not too worried about what goes where, because I can see a lot of this is light, and there's lots of, I don't know what type of plant that is, but it's like seed heads. So there's a lot of lighter areas that are going to go over the top. So you don't go too light at this stage. You don't want to be putting anything more really than mid-tones in. Always leave the very lightest stages to the very end. You know, when you're doing your fine details, don't go too light at this stage, otherwise you'll have nowhere to go effectively when you're coming to doing the final details. See over here, there's a bit too much ivory black in that, so I'm just going to knock that out. You're not really going to see black, you'll see darks, but so it's a bit of the hooker's green, a bit of sap green, a little bit of the burnt umber in there, a little bit of the French ultramarine. That gives you a nice dark green. Like I say, ivory black's a useful colour, but you need to be careful when you use it really, because you're not going to get really sort of pure blacks. A bit of hairs there. In kind of landscapes, really not very often. You'll get very dark areas, but if you use too much of the ivory black, you'll end up, it just won't look natural. So you want to be making your darks from mixing other colours. So you can see there, I've just taken that out a bit, and at the base here as well, this tree, it's a bit black, and I want that dark, not black. So we'll just knock that back with this paint I've got on. Again, probably this tree here, pretty much going to be the final section of the painting, I should imagine, once we've got this dry and everything else defined. I might work a little bit more on the grass to get a bit of texture in there. I have this grass here in a bit. You know, I'm very conscious that people's attention span not necessarily is too long these days, so I'm trying to keep the videos in short chunks, but at the same time when you're doing that, it's quite hard to keep the flow of the painting going. I'm the sort of person, I will sit here for hours just working on certain areas. I must admit, it's been sort of quite a challenge to actually paint and do commentary. Actually a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, but I'm enjoying the process, and I'm enjoying, you know, starting this channel has been, you know, really exciting venture for me, and I probably should have started it a lot earlier in my career, but it's nice to be here now, and hopefully you guys appreciate what I'm doing. If you do, please drop a comment in the on the video. It'd be great to hear from you, and it'd be great to build a community. I'm happy to pass on any tips, happy to answer any queries people have. You know, I'm very open about what I do and how I do it, and you know, I've spent 30 plus years teaching myself how to paint like this, so I've not had any formal training in this. I went to art college and studied graphic design, and I was a graphic designer for many years, but this has always been my first love. I've painted since I was a teenager really. So it's great to be able to pass on some of the tips that I've learnt over the years. So again, we're just keeping with that variation of colour. Just a bit more of the yellow into that, just to lighten this off here, where it kind of the shadow is. And as I've said in previous lessons, you know, do not be afraid of making mistakes. You know, sometimes I'll put a colour on and I'll look at it and I'll think, it's not quite working. And that's a process that you should be going through anyway. You know, I think I've said a number of times, just keep looking at your pictures, keep taking a step back from your painting and seeing what's working, what's not working. And do not ever be afraid to make mistakes. You know, a lot of people I think don't try this kind of painting because they're so worried about it not looking realistic at the beginning or at the end, or there's so many reasons, I guess, to be fearful of doing this, but you really shouldn't be, because making mistakes is something that everybody does, and it's massively important actually to the learning process. You know, without those mistakes, you're not really going to be learning much. So, you know, embrace that and give it a go. So you can see we're building up the texture there, and what we'll do is once I'm happy with the base texture, we shall let that dry. Just going to have a look at this bit over here. Just start to scrub a little bit of paint in there, just to knock that back. Over here. Just trying to define a few extra areas really for the next stage over here. Probably need a bit of it's a bit more of a bluey green over here under these trees where it's in shadow. Yeah, that's a bit of a better colour. And the reeds here. Again, don't go in with your highlights just yet. Just put the darks and the mid-tones in. This is what this part of the painting is about, the darks and the mid-tones. You go too light too early and you'll have nowhere to go with your highlights. Okay. But this is still wet here, so I'm not going to go over any of that just yet. Okay, so that's the reed bed. So I'm just establishing a few more areas, just little subtle areas here. But so I've done some texture there. What we'll do in the next lesson is I'm probably actually going to work on this area here, so that when this section is dry, we can come back and paint over the top. So I'm just working my way around the painting, letting areas dry, and then working on going back. You know, so it's a kind of a process of working your way around the painting. But if you've enjoyed the lesson today, please do subscribe to the channel, because I appreciate every single one of you that takes the time to do that. And hopefully you'll join me in the next lesson. See you soon.